I'm Lindsay Aguilar, and I'm the Executive Director of the Sturgis Area Community Foundation. So my parents both came from rougher backgrounds. My dad lost both of his parents when he was just 9 years old. They were hit by a drunk driver, and that sort of set the stage for the rest of his life. And my mom had a lot of challenges as a child too, and so when they came together and eventually divorced when I was a young child, they were both dealing with a lot of mental health issues that now as an adult I can look back and say, oh wow, my parents were really dealing with a lot. And for my dad, that looked like a drug addiction, and I grew up around, in a home that was sometimes raided or didn't have utilities. And for my mom, it looked like a lifelong battle with pretty severe depression. Obstacles were something I was very familiar with from a young age. High school is hard to navigate. Definitely difficult when your home life isn't necessarily stable. I held multiple jobs in high school while doing athletics, but I think what school really did provide for me was a place for me personally that I felt it was an outlet for me where all things were equal, right? I maybe wasn't going home to a home that had everything that my peers had, but when I was in the classroom, I looked at it as an opportunity to compete. High school was, I think, challenging, but at the same time, it brought a balance to my life because I found myself with setting goals for myself in the classroom. Growth mindset for me means having a little bit of grit and knowing that you're going to encounter things in life, no matter who you are or what your background is, that don't go the way you planned, and that you have to be focused on kind of moving through those and figuring out what you can learn from those moments and not stall yourself, right? We don't do well sitting still as people. We need to progress or we fall back. It's really tough. Things can be tough, but we're tough too, right? So we can, how can we get through this? What resources do I have? And so in those instances throughout my life, whether it was college or graduate school or my career, I've often just tried to remind myself, okay, what was my original goal? What am I trying to do? And this is in my way right now. So how am I going to navigate this? I think it's really important who you surround yourself with, and I always believe that. I tell my children that now, because you need to be with like-minded people who are going to encourage you and who are also going to have that growth mindset and keep you locked in. We have to have a purpose. I really believe that we have to find purpose in our life, and part of growth mindset is finding that purpose and finding ways to continually move toward that. And I think purpose for a lot of us is something you're going to think about your whole life. But in high school, to think about it's okay to think about what do I want my life to be, and really truly believe that is completely possible, right? And to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. I would not have been able to do any of the things that I've done without asking for help, whether it was from friends or from family or seeking out the resources that were available to me in my community. So that's my number one advice, is to, if there's something in your way, if there's something that you're struggling with, if there's something in the way of your success or your own growth, to really ask the question, what do I need? And don't be afraid to voice that. I think sometimes, especially in high school, even looking back at my own journey, I was really shy about asking for help and talking about what was going on at home because I didn't want to seem different, because I didn't want people to know that I was having these very personal struggles at home. I just wanted to seem like I was like everybody else. And if I hadn't have opened up to some of those people, whether or not those were just best friends and so that their parents could, maybe step in, or my guidance counselor, if I hadn't have made those struggles known, I don't know if I would have been able to get through them the way that I got through them, because I would have kind of suffered quietly. So I think a big part of growth and navigating obstacles is being willing to be vulnerable enough to say, I'm dealing with this. This is what my life looks like right now, and I need some help figuring out how to move forward. You have unlimited potential, and I know that can sound really cheesy, and that a lot of people are going to tell you that, or maybe not tell you that, but that your potential is truly unlimited. It doesn't matter who you are, what your challenges are, what your background is. I have been fortunate enough to meet a lot of people from a lot of walks of life on this journey that I've had. And big cities, small cities, I've been able to work with small organizations, national organizations, and some of the most successful people I know were people that maybe didn't even go to college, didn't know what was in front of them, but they all had a purpose. They all understood their value. So my message would be to never forget your value, think hard about your purpose, and don't be afraid to write an incredible life story, okay? Write a great story.